Hi guys, welcome back to the workshop. As you've seen in the title of this video, we are now continuing, no, I'm going to start that again. Ewan's continuing on with the build of his Farmyard aeroplane. In the last video you would have seen that we got everything, Ewan got everything dried up, dry fitted up. Since then he's got the rear shear web glued onto the lower rear spar, but nothing here is glued up other than that. So you've got the main shear web, bottom spar, and rear shear web and bottom spar. All the ribs, as Ewan's just shown, are still loose in here. The reason for that is we need to get this area glued, the servo mount glued up to these ribs first and keep them square and true before we build any more on the wing, because what we want to do is that's going to keep the wing all square. So we can get this glued up first, that'll then jig everything together. So that is the task just now. First of all, you have to excuse the noise. The heater's on full blast because it's absolutely freezing outside, and just behind you just now the printer's going as well. But that aside, some progress has been made with Ewan in building his Farmyard. Farmyard? Yeah. Yeah, it is called Farmyard. I always forget what this model's called. I don't know why. So as you can see, it looks like a wing, but again, most of this is just dry fitted just now. All the ribs are loose apart from this centre section. So in the last video we were working out how we're going to move forwards, and we're planning on gluing up these two ribs to the servo mount, which is what we've done. This is the second wing, so we've basically done exactly the same second wing as what we've done here. That assembly, these two ribs and servo tray have been glued overnight last night to this front spar and shear web and the rear shear web and spar, or lower spar. So from there, that piece there is solid. The plan now is, we just had a look, the ribs won't sit perfectly flush with the rear spar. So what we're going to do is got some really thin, I think that's probably 16th balsa strip. We're going to put that underneath the rear spar to pack it up a little bit, just to raise it enough so that these ribs can sit down flush onto the spar and rear shear web. Then Ewan's going to be able to glue in just about all of the ribs apart from the root rib. We're going to leave that last. If for another reason it's going to be difficult to set that down properly because we won't have space to put a battery on top of it. We'll do a bit of a time lapse and show you what we're doing with it. It should all become a bit clearer. So there's, you've probably just seen in that time lapse, you've just got these ribs for this side of the wing all in. What's that there? How did fiberglass get in there? Oh well. So yeah, he's got the ribs in apart from the very root rib. We're going to leave that until all the others are glued up solid. You might or might not have seen the time lapse. What we've done is we have packed up the rear spar just so it's all clearance for the ribs to sit down fully onto it, and it does seem to be pretty well tight, flush, nicely fitting, however you want to word it. So that's going to have to be left now probably 24 hours for that glue to go off properly solid, and then it's going to be a case of looking at getting the root rib in and glued, and getting the top spars in and glued, getting the tip in.
Do we need to cut the aileron on before we get the top spar in?
No. We'll have to mark. There's a few other things we need to do for it to form the aileron. But what we'll do is we'll get everything built in the structure of the wing first, so the spars and everything in. Possibly even do the sheeting to start with. Yeah.
Yep.
Some of the sheeting anyway, because you've got to get the bottom sheet. There's lots of bits and pieces we have to do. Anyway, so yeah, that's the wing framed up mostly. One of the wings panels. So what we'll do is we'll leave this to cure and come back and do a bit more in a short while. Right, so I'm not quite sure where I got to with the filming of this. I haven't had a chance to go back and look through the previous footage, but this is all now dried apart from the rib Ewan's got in his hand, which is the root rib. The next thing we're going to do is get that glued in with aliphatic. We're just going to put a couple of drops of super glue in it to lock it in place while it dries, which will then give us the opportunity to get the top main spar in and the top rear spar in before we move anything, so it's all still jacked up and jigged in the same way. I don't think it's worth putting the tip on just yet. You realise you've got fluff all in your hair. So yeah, we're going to try and get the spars in, and that might do us tonight on this. So we're just going to have to let it cure up afterwards. So yeah, we're going to get on and get some glue thrown around the place. Right then, so Ewan's there, got the main spar, top main spar and rear top spar in. That's all been put in with aliphatic, and for once he's actually closed the bottle on the glue. We always leave it open, don't you?
Not always.
Anyway, so that's all gluing up now. We're going to leave this to go off properly hard now. I suspect the next thing to do, what will be the next thing to do? We'll see. Next thing probably will be making it lift off the bench and seeing about, if nothing else, starting the rear sheeting, because we need to form the aileron.
I would have thought next time to do we get the rear bit of the red cut.
Yeah, that's all going to be part of forming the aileron.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but yeah.
I thought we needed to do that before sheeting.
No, it's going to be part of the sheet. What are we going to stick it to?
No.
No. you cut it back to the depth that you need the aileron to be.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you cut these off, you've got a guide to where to sand back to. Yeah?
Yep.
Right, so that's a plan for going forwards. It's coming along quite well, isn't it? Yeah. So if you're liking this sort of content, give us a thumbs up. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel, it's down the bottom there. We've got a Facebook group now, which is linked below, to talk about the builds and the videos. Go and check it out. And soon we're going to be going for a 1,000 subscriber giveaway. So if you're not subscribed, become a subscriber and get a chance to win a kit. But from myself and Ewan here in the workshop, we'll see you next time.
Bye.